This is my first time here, actually my first time in Poland, and this conference is actually a great coincidence for me because not only have I been in the real-time communication space for 100 years, we also have most of our development team for Gigaverse here in Poland, so we actually just spent 3 days together in Wrocław doing a hackathon, everybody together for the first time. In addition to that, we are also building our mobile clients using React Native. So we're using a bunch of the libraries that's developed in this building here by Software Mansion. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about building real-time AI features into your audio and video platform. But I have to start with describing what Gigaverse actually does. We believe that now, more than ever, the world needs a new media format, one that enables real-time discussion and amplifies every voice. This new format has to be live and interactive, fostering dynamic conversations. It has to be community-driven, built by and for the people, and it has to be free from platform interference, especially when it comes to monetization. We are a live video platform where creators and communities can engage, retain, and monetize their members. Here's a couple of example use cases for our platforms. We have music artists that use it to connect with their fans, allowing them to ask questions in person and getting a much more closer connection than they can using traditional social media. We enable podcasters to go live and let listeners contribute to their show. At the same time, they retain all the assets from the show so they can edit the session and produce a normal podcast from it. We have smaller communities that use this for live online discussions. This can be anything from discussing news and politics to online coaching and support groups. We also have some organic usage in the education sector. That's individuals that teach online. Some of them are freelancing, some of them are affiliated with universities and other organizations. However, going live to a large audience can be hard. Many times it requires a lot of preparation and several people to run it. Someone might be working on see what's happening in the chat, one person might be busy doing moderation, and someone else is trying to engage the audience. This leads to that often live events are either rare and expensive events, or they become mainly a one-to-many experience where a single creator is streaming from their cell phone or their laptop. At Gigaverse, we are leveraging AI to help solve this problem and make them easier. So I'm going to run a quick product demo to let you know what it's all about. I'm going to need audio for that.
Gigaverse. My name is Yashvi, and I am on stage as the host of this live. The rest of our team is here in the audience. You can see them in the front row on the top right with their videos on. The live chat is blowing up, as you can see, much like many other live platforms. We have an Insights tab that is an AI-powered dashboard and highlights the most important moments from the chat so that you don't miss anything important. These could be good comments or good questions like this one. The 2 buttons that come along with it allow me to feature and give a nod to someone in the audience, or I can do one better and bring them up on stage.
Yashvi, how's it going?
Hi.
What's the interactivity all about?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Live interaction leads to higher engagement in communities. Let's fact check this. So what you'll see is our instant fact checking feature. The statement pops up at the bottom. You see that loading icon where it scours the internet for sources to support or disprove this information. And you see the answer pop up below. Spot on. The links that you see click out to the sources, so you always know where you're getting your information from. But this is one of our most exciting features. Once you're done having a question like this come on, we have basic moderation tools built in as well, of course, where I can now remove Avi from the stage and send him back into the audience. One of our other AI-powered voice-activated features is polling. I can say something like, have you ever wanted to interact face-to-face with a creator in a live? Let's create a poll. And the poll will pop up immediately, you'll notice, with the options filled in as well. The Gigaverse magic doesn't end with the live itself. If I record this live, once it ends, our AI will deliver instantly generated post-live assets. These are edited and captioned highlight clips, audio stems, transcripts, Everything that you need to upkeep your social media presence and keep your community engaged in this multi-platform landscape. Our community page also has a chat box, a schedule, everything you need to keep the connection going between live sessions as well. The stage is open for the rest of our team to come on and say hi.
All right, let's move on. As you can see, I'm not brave enough, as some of you, to actually run a live demo of this, so that's I'm using a recording. So yeah, go through the sort of AI-powered features we have. Insights tab is essentially the control panel for the creator. It shows you, a highlight overview of which topics are being discussed in the chat. It also highlights, impactful messages and questions that are relevant to what you are talking about. It's also the shortcut for the creator to invite people, display questions, things like that. We support real-time polls, so all you have to say is, you say a question, you give some sort of hint of what the answer should be. You don't have to spell them out in any way, and say, let's create a poll, and it will appear. Then we support fact check and sort of added information. We don't really like the word fact check because the purpose is not to prove some right or wrong. It's to help, give the viewer more context of what's being discussed. This can be very useful if, if people are talking about a company or a person you haven't talked about, you haven't heard about. This is something that happens automatically, and it can also happen by a voice trigger. Then we have auto moderation, both on chat, and we can also moderate the video before someone joins you live, so you can check that a person is not nude, they're not holding a gun, things like that. And the major benefit from doing AI-based moderation is that you support sort of free text configurations. You can say that, hey, I don't want to have any questions about the weather in Poland, let's just talk about the soccer games, and all those questions will be automatically suppressed for you. So this was a high-level intro to our platform and product. In the rest of the talk, I'm going to focus more on the AI features, and especially AI features that happen in real time, because I think that's what this conference is about. So let's give sort of just a quick overview what sort of the data we have to play with. For every audio track, we transcribe that into text, so it's easier to process. The chat is obviously text to begin with, so we just have to forward that to our AI services. From the video tracks, we collect images, but also short video snippets we can use for analysis. And then, of course, we have all the information that lives on our backend, the session description, what persons have written about themselves in the user profile. And then for every event, we have whatever moderation guidelines someone has set for the session. So this is a very, very simple, overview of what sort of most video conferencing solution looks like. In the core, we have the client that sends audio and video back and forth through the SFU. Very often, there is a chat service too. The chat service might be more or less integrated in the media path. But many times, it's sort of a separate service because chat is something that lives, could live all the time versus the real-time session that starts and stops. And then we have all the other backend features like authentication, signaling, making sure right people can join the session and they know which server to connect to. So this is what it looks for us, but then essentially on top of that, we have connected our AI infrastructure. So from the SFU, we have transcription agents for every track that take the audio and pipe the transcribed audio to AI services. From the, we have a clip generation engine that pipe video clips to AI services. And then, of course, the chat messages are forwarded directly there. This is, of course, like a super simplified view, especially like the AI services. In reality, it looks more something like this. And even this is sort of cutting away a bunch of the features we have. If you're really fast, you might see that we are using GetStream for chat, and we're using LiveKit as the SFU provider. So we're here to talk about real-time. So let's talk about the real-time aspects of these features. Latency is extremely important for any feature that accompany a live experience. If something is too late, it's not relevant anymore. So this is sort of what we see as sort of good targets for our features. If you do some sort of voice command, you need to see an action within a couple of seconds. Otherwise, you're going to believe the feature is broken and you're probably going to start to repeat yourself. For understanding chat messages, I think we have a little bit more time to play with, whether something is this a good question or not. So we can probably exact something up to 5 seconds. For video moderation, it is a trickier area. If you really want to sort of immediately know if someone is appropriate or not, that probably has to happen within 5 seconds. And I don't believe the technology is really there yet. From what we heard today, I think like if you do using a cloud-based LLM for video, it's sort of similar to where transcription was 10 years ago, that you upload this file and when the file is analyzed you get the result, and there's a lot of sort of copying that has to happen, which is sort of unnecessary. You have to write the file to one place and upload it and then wait for the result. So there's a lot of optimization that can happen there, or probably will happen within the coming years. What you can do instead then you can try to build a user flow that allows for a bit higher latency. For example, if you have several speakers in queue waiting to join you, you can analyze this video while they are waiting, or you can also choose to let someone come with audio only and then having the video blurred for 5 seconds or so before it's checked. For fact-checking and supporting information, it's very important that the discussion has not moved on to something else. So you probably need to bring that information up within 10 seconds or so. And then for the post-produced features, it's not really relevant here. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into what we do to keep the latency as low as possible. And hopefully this can help some of you as well when you're building real-time AI features. And this is all in the context of us being a small company with limited resources. We have roughly 10 engineers on the team. And of course, we are relying a lot on external infrastructure services to build a complete platform. One of the key things is that you need to have a flexible LLM architecture. Right today, we are using a mix of GPT-5 Mini, GPT-OSS, Llama 3, and Gemini, and some of these actually run in different environments as well, depending on our need. First of all, this requires you to always take advantage of the latest development. When something new is coming out, if something is cheaper, faster, better, you can immediately move over to that. But I would say even more importantly is that this allows you to optimize your service by using the smallest possible model that essentially is good enough quality for your feature. Of course, you also need to know how fast they are. We use a framework called OpenRouter. We use it for reliability and redundancy, but the good thing is that they also provide actual, user statistics on the provider latencies here. A nice thing is that, if you use the smallest possible model, you also use the cheapest possible model almost always. But there is also sort of a flip side to it. You can make things go faster by paying more money, and that is by using the hardware accelerated models. We are using Llama 3.3 and GPT-OSS by a provider called Cerebras, which has built dedicated hardware to make LLMs really fast. Then lastly, today the existing reasoning models are just too slow to use for real time. Basically, you have to do the reasoning for it and decide on forehand what potential context that might be needed. If you're using GPT-5, maybe reasoning models is too slow for doing anything nowadays, but that's a different thing. Yeah, having fact-checked as an example, right? You have to see, this is a statement, should it be fact-checked? If so, get information and summarize things. Then, of course, you need to make sure that you have a low latency infrastructure for your services. This is, of course, going to be different platform per platform. That this is what applies to us. Our AI services run on a microservice architecture, and we're using Kafka as the main event path. We have a Python backend, and we're using Kafka with async I/O, gives us very low latency. This depending on that you are able to process as many messages as possible in parallel. All the data can't go in the Kafka event though, so we use short-lived database entries for additional information that might be required as context. For these fields, it's important to take into account that you can allow some entries to update slower. For example, when we're using chat data as a context, not analyzing the chat directly, we only updated it once every 10 seconds, which is fine for that purpose. But of course, that would not be okay if you want to analyze a chat message directly. Then, last of all, you cannot improve or you cannot measure, as to say. So having some sort of end-to-end tracing is crucial. You need to see what time is spent where. And I'm going to give some examples of that. So this is some example from our tracing. We're using Sentry right now, but we're looking at other options. I'm not saying go use Sentry. So I'm going to use fact check as an example here because it's probably one of the most complex features timing-wise we have. All of this starts with a separate service called Soundbite, and all the Soundbite service do is to extract important and meaningful statements from the speech. In that process, there is also a tag whether something is potentially fact-checkable. If that's the case, it's then going to get moved on to our next service, which does the actual fact-checking. When that happens, we perform a much more complex and longer query, trying to determine, is this something that actually should be fact-checked? That's where we're trying to rule out, is this just an opinion? Is this a subjective area? Things like that. If this is still true, and this should be fact-checked, that's when we fire off several web queries in parallel to gather the information we need. This is target sort of reliable sources like Wikipedia and news media that we trust. And lastly, all of this is put together into first one short summary, but then we also provide a longer answer that gives you more context and also provide all the sources we use to get to this answer. I want to end with talking of what sort of we see more as a future area and what we're working on right now. We also seen several examples of that today, and that's to leverage video understanding more. As I said, we already had the infrastructure to do this for moderation, but we see a lot more opportunities here. One area is what I call the auto producer, which would be a much smarter way to essentially provide the optimal video layout, to decide how much screen area should be used for what and how to crop the videos in the right way. Basically trying to make a live experience look as good as a post-produced video podcast. Then we also see a lot of opportunities in shopping. Instead of sort of a traditional TikTok model where a creator is pushing a certain product or a line of product, we can automatically highlight things for you. For example, someone is wearing a cool shirt, you can immediately know where you can buy it. Someone has, a cool painting in the background, we can also surface that for you. Then we also see a lot of interest from the creator we're working with to use it to sort of engage the audience. This could be example, let's say you're a yoga instructor, you could easily quickly run a competition, who has the best yoga posture, who can do the most push-ups, things like that. So I'm going to end with a demo we did as a proof of concept for this. This is not in our product yet, but it's essentially, it's running 100% on a real infrastructure. It's just that we sort of hard-coded the feature instead of building a UI for it.
Okay, let's do something fun. I want to see who the most fashionable person is. So guys, if you have any Chanel items, go and grab them and come show them off. Let's start a competition. The winner is going to get a discount code to Chanel. So I can see on the right that the AI is looking at your videos. I see you holding up things, but our AI is going to analyze the videos to see who's got Chanel and who's just holding up something random. All right, we've got our winners, Omer and Nini, I see at the bottom. So I'm going to bring you up on stage to show off your items and to verify that they are actually Chanel. Hello, Nini. Amazing, beautiful Chanel bag. Omer, I sent you an invite as well. Incredible, that is a Chanel perfume. Congratulations to both our winners. You both will be getting discount codes. Thanks for playing.
Cool, thank you very much. I think the takeaway should be that, it is possible to build AI features today that interact with you in real time. And now is the time to do it.
Does anyone have any questions? I am particularly curious about the technical details about the last feature that you said that it's not yet released. I believe that some VLM work has been done. Can you share some details about that? In particular, what models did you use for that?
This is running Gemini because it is very strong on video understanding. So basically what we do is that we trigger that we are recording, clips on all the video tracks. And right now it was given a prompt to recognize channel items. By chance, we were doing this at an investor event where we had some, channel owner family there as participants. So it wasn't a chance we chose that. But it's simply that's what it is.
Did you find any particular objects that it struggles with, or across the board, whatever you feed it with, it was okay?
No, I think it is like always. If you give it something very, very specific, you get a good answer, right? You cannot ask, what is the best, who looks the best, right? Sure. There's a lot of prompting, and if you want something more subjective, we saw some other example here. You have to essentially ask them, we want you to rate this image on these 10 different axes, right? And you get the score of that, and then you essentially have to build your own logic based on one factor to see, and that's how you tune the performance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In the back, Chris.
Hey, good talk, man. Thank you for doing that. It seems like you've built in a lot of these really cool AI features for kind of a creator economy type app. How are you guys evaluating like the cost of operating such a thing, especially when you're dealing with so many models in the cloud and services, which definitely eat up GPUs and cost a lot, versus like what consumers are willing to pay for this type of service?
I think that's a very, very relevant question. I would say right now we are not super worried about the cost, because we believe, we see how they go down quickly over time. And once you build, a really compelling experience, there's lots of things we can do to optimize them. That said, for our typical use cases, even now when we sort of just brute forcing things, it's still the video infrastructure is more expensive than the AI infrastructure.